It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. This is just one of the weirdest feeling seasons we've had in a very, very long time. And I always talk about feeling my way through Notre Dame and I feel these vibes and I feel where we're at and the energy from the fans and the media. And this feels so bizarre and so weird. The place this whole thing is in right now is just bizarre. It's just bizarre. And it's not where you thought you would be. It's not where you thought your mind would be. It's not where you thought your energy would be. Of all the places we could be as a media and fan base going into game 4, this was not on the list. Of all the options of the mental place we would all be processing the game, this is just not where any of us thought we would be. And you just have these questions that you weren't expecting to have, these anxieties going into every game that you haven't had to worry about in a very long time. It is just a very odd place to be. Pat says, how does everybody feel that I'll be at the Arkansas game? Pat, I think you're baiting me because you know how I feel. Every time Pat goes to a big road game, something really painful happens. Every time Pat and his brother are like, we're going to this cool road game for Notre Dame, and it's a big game, something bad happens and Notre Dame ends. It loses at the very end. And you could also add some home games. A&M, Pat's there. Look what happens at the end. 23 Ohio State. Look what happens at the end. I think Pat just needs to stay home. Go golf. Go golf. Yeah, I mentioned Ohio State. And I'm happy for Pat and his brother, man. They get up and go, and they go to some fun. They go, I know you were at Purdue, but you have more bad ones on the ledger lately, bro. But I love the fact that they get up and go and do all these cool experiences and go see other towns and other football cultures. It's not for me. It's not for me. I couldn't handle it. I just don't. Anybody, you're going with shoot. That'll be fun. That'll be real fun. Anybody that's going down there, man, Pat's going to be there. If you want to get a little gathering of the Irish faithful, Pat will be there. He'll be there. Call-in lines, 312-988-15. Dial it up. Tell Uncle Johnny all you've heard and seen. There's just this hanging cloud of anxiety that is going to persist around every Notre Dame discussion as long as you can't trust the defense. As long as it's throwing the whole thing off. Jay Carr, 1-3 is a horrible look, John. You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. And so the position that you're in right now is this is the game that's going to determine, are you going to be able to hold this thing together by the loose strands that are keeping it all together right now? Are you going to be able to hold this thing together and get it to another week with just the 2 losses and the hope of salvaging a somewhat respectable season? If you go to 1-3 and you go to 1-3 because of the same reason that we lost 2 games, which is the defense, this thing's gonna spiral. You are in for 7-5, 6-6. You are in for some real trouble. So this is a big one, and it's going to determine whether you can keep this thing together or if it totally goes off the rails. And I got news for you guys. If this thing ventures off the rails in a bad way, it isn't just going to be this year that's affected. I'm telling you, these other teams are going to go after your defensive recruits so hard. Whatever the NIL is, we're going to match it. And why do you want to go play in this defense? And I got to admit, it's a pretty good sell right now. Why do you want to look at what they're putting on the field? Why do you want to play in this passive, soft defense, getting worked over every day and not being aggressive? Why do you want to play in that? They're not even going to highlight your skill set. So this is a big one. This is a big one. And a lot of people think it's going to be a shootout. And I think I'm one of those people. A lot of people think it's going to be a high scoring affair. And it's not. It's not a brand of Notre Dame football I like. I like the offensive part. This offense is growing rapidly. CJ Carr's growing rapidly. It's a little more dynamic where it could get you through the air, through the ground, whatever. Fine. I like that part. But overall, your mind frame as a Notre Dame fan entering these games going, I'm not even that excited. I'm just more anxious. I don't want to see it. You want to cringe. Whenever the defense is out there, you kind of want to look away, but you got to look at the car crash at the same time. It feels like 2007 or something, where every time the opposing quarterback passes it, it's completed. You just see for how many yards. That's kind of where we're at. It's kind of where we're at. And it's just a really, really tough feel. And the problem I have with it is you're messing up. You're messing up what we all could bank on. That's the problem I'm having right now. It's an identity crisis. And that is why the fans and the media are kind of frozen. And you can't look at anything big picture. It's just, can you survive the next moment? There's no bigger picture anything. It's an emergency now. Can you survive the next moment to cross it off the list and survive and get to another big moment? That's the problem everyone's having. That's why the Notre Dame media is kind of frozen in place in an awkward spot. That's why I'm kind of there. That's why the fan base has your identity you used to lean on, of knowing every game you go into, at least the Notre Dame defense is going to give you a representative effort and give you a chance to win. You used to be able to bank that. That used to be the identity of this damn program is, I don't know what the offense is going to do, but I know that defense is going to keep us in the game. Without that, you feel like you're who are we? What are we? What is our identity? What are we doing here? You feel like you lost this comfort blanket that you used to be able to bring into any game. That's how I feel. I've lost that. And then that makes you then question everything. And you can't have a good feel for how a game's going to go or whatever. It's really disturbing, man. It's really upsetting. And it's wild. It feels like all it took is one bad hire, and it's unraveling years of good, tough work building this program up. And it's hard not to feel like all it took is one bad hire, and now everything's on fire thanks to the ashes. It's hard not to feel that way, man. We're an old Pac-12 team. It just feels completely, you're having an existential identity crisis. It's tough. Pat, see you later, buddy. Thanks for stopping in this morning. I'll talk to you. And I've been seeing those over under the point totals. I saw 64.5, something like that. I'm tempted to take the over. I think I do not like where this is at. And it has everybody in a weird spot. If Ash is so bad, why isn't Freeman stepping in? Well, that is the big debate, and the big question is, You would like to think a guy with Marcus Freeman's defensive history as a player and as a coach, coming from that side of the ball, being a part of really good defenses on the field as a player and putting them together as a coach, you would want to believe that Freeman fully understands how deep of a problem this is. Don't you think that Freeman sees it the way we see it, but he just can't get in front of the media and throw a coach under the bus fully? It is so much easier of a journey for a coach to get up there when you're faced with tough questions about why your defense has went from like first to worst to say, we just need to execute better. And that covers everything. We just need to execute better. We just need to execute better. You could throw that out there and it covers everything. We need to execute better. I don't think he feels like he could get up there and totally throw Ash under the bus publicly. I don't feel like he thinks he could do that. So the question is, what is going on behind the scenes? And I've seen all the rumors. I've seen the rumors. Oh, Freeman took over the second half last week. Oh, Freeman's taking it over now. Ash is relegated to like talking into a dummy mic that isn't connected to the headset. Like, I've heard all of this and I've heard counter arguments. Nope, Ash is still doing it. Like, I've heard all of this, but you gotta think a guy like Marcus fully understands what we're dealing with. I refuse to think Marcus Freeman, as the defensive mind he is, thinks that this is not a huge problem and a total nightmare and whatever. I just don't think he could get up in front of the media and say what he wants to say. So the question becomes, what are you doing behind the scenes? The problem with that is, I see the callers. If you're on hold, we're going to get to you. You'll be on the air. Here's the problem with this. Your opportunity to recognize you had huge problems was between game 1 and 2, when you saw some major issues and obvious red flags, and you had 2 weeks to prepare for the next game, and you got worse. That is a real problem to me. It looks like you doubled down on what wasn't working, and then you got burned even more a half a month later. If you were going to see some big shift or whatever, it should have been between that first game and the second game when you saw some clear problems and you had 2 weeks to figure it out. You came out and got worse. So I don't know. Andrew Gilmore brings up something I've been asking as well. And I'm not the X's and O's guy. Maybe this is more of a Tim Hyde and a Mike Goolsby question, right? Probably a Goolsby question with this defense. Andrew, you bring up a fair point. Ash. Yeah, he's the key piece that came in here, and it's very obvious to point at Ash for obvious reasons. What about Mike Mickens? All the credit we gave Mickens for recruiting, development, scouting, getting like 3-star guys in the building and getting them to play like 4 and 5 stars in that secondary. We have spent a lot of time praising Mike Mickens. What is his role in all this on the back end? What can he do? Whatever Ash is doing, what can Mickens do to offset it or blunt it or make it a little more doable? Like, you got to ask that as well. Ash is the easy guy to go after. That is just like, you don't even need to think about it. That's the obvious thing. But then you got to ask, all that credibility that we gave Mickens, where is his role in making those guys perform a little better and be less confused out there? And so it's just, 2 straight years of being number 1 rated pass defense. Mickens is proven. So then that means that this just is what it is, and there's nothing he can do. Like, I don't know, but I think it's a fair question to ask. Swandong says, "Damn, I forgot sky is still falling." I'm just being honest with where this is all at. This feels like an existential thing when the part of the program you used to rely on every single day and put your little leprechaun head on the pillow knowing at least we got a good defense. Before every game, Friday night, when you go to sleep, you knew we had a good defense. You don't know that now. and it was your number one safety blanket you entered every single game with, knowing at least we have a good defense, damn it. And now you don't. And now every week feels like this big mystery surprise box. And you just hope one week it looks more put together on defense or whatever. But man, I'm not exaggerating. It feels existential because the biggest part of this you used to trust, you can no longer. And it is messing with everybody's heads. It's hard to pick these games now and predict what's going to happen when what your backbone is just ripped out, man. Your backbone's just ripped out. It's really, really tough. It's really, really tough. And so I don't know. I expect this to be a lot of scoring. I'm going to get into some things here I need to see from Notre Dame defensively to try and end up saving the season for another week. If you end up, I don't even want to think about if you end up 1-3 through 4 games, all because of the defense. It is the most Notre Dame-iest fall from grace you could ever imagine. The fact that it would be the strongest part of your program, letting you down to that 1-3 to start this year, it's absolutely mentally and emotionally devastating, quite frankly. It really is. And Kenneth says, maybe the defensive players are just horrible. You do have some young guys Listen, you lost your leaders up the middle of the defense last year. On the D line, you lost a linebacker, and then you lost Watts, and Morrison's gone. I get all that. My pushback to that is, I've heard that argument. You lost all your captains or whatever, and what do there's no way Notre Dame's talent is so bad that it should be 2007 numbers. There's no way. So, yeah, you have young guys that are learning on the fly, some guys that are not veterans that are thrown in there in key roles because of injury and we're a little thin, whatever. There's no way the Notre Dame talent's so bad to literally go from first to almost worst. I'm saying almost worst, depending on where you look. What stat? You're 100 and something in past the 100 and something. What is there? 134 teams now, 136 in D1 or whatever. You're 100 or below. So it isn't literally first to worst, but it's one of the worst. When you're below 100 in those categories, garbage. So there's no way the talent's so bad that it goes from first to worst just because of the talent. There's no way. That's like a middle 2000s thing. When you got guys that look like me out there starting. Like, this is not that. And the other thing that kind of proves to me that's not the problem is, the other thing that shows me that's not the key problem is all of the obvious confusion. When I say obvious confusion, I'm looking like pre-snap at everybody all the time, pointing and waving and doing this and doing that. You stay, no, you go. Who's going over there? Who's going over there? We're doing over this. We're doing over that. You got to get over here. All the running around they're doing pre-snap and the pointing and the air traffic control stuff. That indicates to me there is a lot of confusion. There is a lot of confusion, man. A lot of confusion. And that tells me there's just a big disconnect here. It's a big disconnect. And I'm banking in the back of my mind, folks. I'm going to go to the call. A couple chats, go to the calls. This just hurts. John, bad players always look confused. It's because they expect others to make the play. Bad players hide. It's just, you just got a combination of a lot of things you don't like right now. And it adds you. I keep going back to this. Mike Frank been doing this 30 years. Okay. Been doing this long time in the Notre Dame media circle. And he's saying he heard behind the scenes, Ash came in, changed way more than they thought it was going to change. And the players in defense were not happy. And I've logged that in the back of my mind ever since he said it. And then talking to some people that are here in the chat that are family friends with players on the team's families, they were saying in the summer, John, there's some anxiety about some of these changes. And I remember hearing that in August. I'm like, I'm going to bank it and we're going to wait and see. You remember the thing. Wait and see with the Ash defense. Okay. And I said, I'm going to log this and I'm going to wait and I'm going to think about it. Or I'm going to see what happens. And I waited, I saw it, and I don't like it. What I do like is the new book I got at the tailgate. It is another Frank Leahy book. So now I got 2 of them here. What would Frankie do? He'd be rolling around in his urn. That's what he would do. Do you remember that when I always thought, I know I was in the death business, and that's why I thought it was funny. That Office episode where Chris Ash says something like, my grandpa would be rolling in his urn if he heard that. I just thought that was the funny, like rolling in your grave, rolling in your urn because it's ashes and you can't. I've always just thought that was funny. And I always wait to use that line because I think it's hilarious. These are tough times. These are tough times. I just don't know what we're going to get. Every week, it's like your own adventure. You kind of don't want to look at the screen, but you got to, and you just hope the game just goes better. It feels like old Notre Dame, and where you're not like fully riled up for the game. Do you get what I'm saying? Like before some of these games, when you're feeling confident, you're like, let's go. I'm ready to go. Let's get at them. Now it's like, all right, I guess we'll watch and see. I guess we'll just watch and see. Andrews says, I put this on Freeman. He hired Ash. Yeah. Ultimately, I don't care if Mike Ditka and I don't care if Ara Parsi. I don't care who recommended this guy from the grave or in life. That doesn't mean you had to do it. I keep seeing people be like, well, Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer recommended it. So what? So what? That means you just shut it all down and hire the analyst? Like, no. That doesn't make me feel any better when people are like, well, what do you want? Jim Tressel and Urban recommended him. So what? So Marcus Freeman ultimately made the decision. Now Marcus Freeman needs to figure a way out. That's the bottom line. And I understand Freeman would much rather be a CEO, over the top CEO, watch everything, kind of like manage from above, let your coordinators do whatever. You no longer have that luxury, Marcus. You have a 5-alarm fire on one side of the ball, and he has an obligation. You got to drop that CEO crap and get over there with the whistle on the defense. You just do. And the other thing I want to bring up about this is, Buzz's girlfriend, Wolf, is the defense for sure, bro. And you want to know what's the funniest part about that? In that movie, they didn't want some young girl that isn't good looking to get their feelings hurt. So the picture of Buzz's girlfriend is the producer's son with a wig on. I just think that's the funniest side note from Home Alone. It isn't even a real girl because they didn't want to make one feel bad for being unfortunate looking. So they put a wig on the producer's son. Oh my God, I love it, dude. Buzz, your girlfriend, Wolf. Those bangs, I'm picturing those blonde bangs. And that guy now is like 45 years old, and his claim to fame being in a movie is Buzz's girlfriend, Wolf. What a credit to have there in your MFBD or whatever it's called. That's Michigan football. What's that website called? Wherever they say what you've been in. Oh my God. As always, thanks for being here. You can 24 minutes later. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni out as well. Notifications on so you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar, always Irish rat, always Irish shake. Emails, always irishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my stupid face, God bless you. People saw enough of it at the tailgate, damn it. ND on SI, you could read all about it. I got an article for you every single day. Every day, I have an article for you. Patreon.com/always Irish. Here's the deal, man. I just posted at 7 this morning. Mike Goolsby and Tim Ide breaking down the first half of the defense against Purdue. And then the second half's going to come out later this afternoon. So if you want the information and you want to try and break down what happened and how we got here, what's going on, feel free. So promo code Irish, link in the description. Check it out. Check it out. What are you guys talking about? The hub? What are you talking about the hub for? Any new information about Moore and Smith? You better hope they're back and in one piece. You better hope they're back in one piece, or it's you bet. Ooh, they better be back in one piece, man. I'm telling you. So these are tough times, people. This is not where you want to be, and it's definitely not how you want to feel. All right. Arkansas is having their own issues. Pittman on the hot seat. Defense can't tackle. I've listened to a couple podcasts. They're not happy. Cindy, you are 100% correct. I have been ever since the website that tells you what you've been in. That's different. That's different. What do I look like? Bonnie Blue and Gold over here? Give me a break. Imagine that. I don't want to say it. Never mind. But Bonnie Blue and Gold, there's an angle there. If anybody wants to make it a Notre Dame themed kind of situation with an edge to it, Bonnie Blue and Gold, I'm talking. You want to talk some OnlyFans money? There's the angle. Anyways, so here's the thing. I've been ever since Purdue. That game annoyed me. The 9 hours because of the weather, it all annoyed me. It's Purdue. The whole thing's annoying. And I started consuming. I'm sorry. Look what we started. When Notre Dame's defense is bad, this is what you get, folks. I was so annoyed with Purdue. I started consuming Arkansas media Sunday right away. They're miserable. They're pissed off. They want to run Pittman out of town. The loss to Memphis going into score to win it and fumbling and losing, like they're down, they're mad, they're upset. They want to fire Pittman, like they're not happy. They think they're really underperforming. It's just heart-wrenching way to lose the game last week. They're very, very upset. So it isn't as though Arkansas is feeling good and they're like Miami or something, undefeated, feeling themselves. Notre Dame's going in there. It ain't like that. They have a lot of problems and uncertainty as well. And there's a question about what the environment's going to be like there I want to address. So that's kind of where we're at. You guys. This is tough. So let's do a couple chats and then we'll go right to the calls. Okay. My main man, Martinez, he's just listening today, really busy at work. God bless that man. He was the first guy that came up to me at the tailgate. He brought gifts for me. I had a couple things for him. It was a beautiful thing. Everyone in our ecosystem knows him, and I'm glad he got to meet the family and do everything. We had a great time. Tom, Arkansas defense, not as good as offense. We should be able to get points. No faith in the defense. Yeah, that I'm looking at a shootout. I would be surprised if it went another way. Watch this be like a 14-13 game now. Right when we're all picking the over at 64.5 points or whatever, watch it be like some defensive slugfest or like a bunch of goofy things happen and the score's low. Going to be a shootout, says Mark. Yeah, it is. Mikey Poles. Looks like Oklahoma State needs a new head coach. I know, just the guy. His name is Chris Ash. Hey, it worked out for Parker. Yeah, 64.5 is the last I saw last night. Take the over. Adam Dowling's been tracking a lot of the Vegas odds. It was favoring Notre Dame by a lot more, and now it seems that that's going down, which tells me not a lot of faith in Notre Dame. People thinking maybe more Arkansas. I've seen that number go down a lot. So I don't know. Mark, last year, Freeman defended Leonard the whole first half of the season. Now it's all about players not executing. Why such a turn? I think it's because you can't really get up there and call out a coach. I sincerely think that's what it is, man. I don't think you could get up there and say our new DC is ruining the program. I just think it's a lot easier to say that everybody's got to execute better than it is. What do you want the guy to say? He just hired a guy, and then 3 weeks in, you want the head coach to stand up there and go, yeah, the guy I just hired is ruining the team. Like, you got to understand, you're not going to get that. Even if Freeman knows it and believes it's true, you're not going to get that at the podium. That is not the job. He's not going to do it. He can't do it. Like, you can't do that. It's what we want because we want to know Marcus sees the same problem we do the same way. It's so much easier to just say, yeah, the player, everybody needs to execute than it is the new guy I just hired that's making us all look bad and he sucks. You can't say that at the podium, bro. First to 50. You might be right. Is this game chain worthy? Absolutely not. I am not in the mood for the chain. I wore it at the tailgate for promotional purposes and marketing purposes. No. You only get the chain when you're winning and I feel good about things and I'm feeling myself and I feel like Notre Dame's in an area where it can feel itself. You ain't there. It hurts me. I feel naked out here without my chain, but after a win, you didn't earn it. You're not playing good enough. You're not consistent enough. Nope. Domer guy. You guys are betting with your heart or nuts. I recorded a video coming out. Callers, I'm coming to you. I'm almost caught up with the chats. I recorded my preview video yesterday that's going to come out on YouTube tomorrow morning. And I go over, I am not sure who to pick in this game and what to believe in or what to trust or not. And I cover in that. Anytime I've done a write-up on SI and picked Notre Dame not to win, I get a bunch of hate mail of people saying that I'm like a bad fan or not a real fan for picking against Notre Dame. What do you not understand? I'm not a 7-year-old kid who just wants my team to win every game, so I make it in my mind a path to where they could do it in my little Irish heart. That's not how this works. Even if I picked against Notre Dame in a game, I don't want it to be that way. It's just what I think's going to happen. No, you got to be able to separate what you think will happen and what you want to happen in your heart. There's only been a couple times I picked against Notre Dame and I got a bunch of hate mail. You need to be revoked. You shouldn't be able to do this. You're not a Notre Dame fan. My job is not to just make you feel good. It's to tell you what I think is going on. But I always get that hate mail every time I'll pick against Notre Dame in a big game or whatever. And it's like, you're not a real fan. My job is not to just pick with my heart. I'm supposed to write about the practical, what's going on. See the difference. Always Irish Senior. Thanks again to the whole family for helping set up the tailgate and everything. I could never make it as good as it is without my parents and brother and everybody being involved. Good morning. So many questions at the D side of the ball. Not looking forward to this one. Need to see some changes. That sounds like my dad. The good news is, I mean, in my time zone, I think it's an 11 a.m. start. So at least you're not going to have that feeling of pacing around your house all day with that pit in your stomach of what's going to happen. It's just going to wake up, chug some beers, and the game's going to start. And you'll be able to figure out real quick what's going on. Real quick. Felix. I like that name. That's a fancy name. Felix. Both defenses are bad. Offense is good. Arkansas wins 58-53. We're well over 100 on this one. Tex ND. Good morning to John and the always Irish faithful. Hope all are well. Can't say I feel good this week. It's a very Notre Dame type of week. Cautiously pessimistic. You ever heard of being cautiously optimistic? Well, we're cautiously pessimistic also. Tex ND got a bad deal on the Airbnb for the game last week. He came in for the tailgate. Told me there was a fresh log on the floor in the Airbnb, man. Come on. Notre Dame's defense is already laying logs out there all the time. The guy gets an Airbnb, gets into town, there's a fresh log on the floor. You got to be kidding me, bro. That is, if ever there was a time to be a Karen, I want to talk to the manager about this. A fresh log on the floor right when you get into town? That ain't a good way to start the day. Unbelievable. Come on, man. So I felt bad for him on that one. All just so he could be in to see me and go to the tailgate. It ain't worth it for a log on the floor, even though I love you, Tex. I love that you did it. I just feel bad for the circumstances with that log. Irish Cubby. Who would have guessed in the offseason we'd be averaging 40 points per game? I'm telling you, it all feels weird. $5 holler. to respond to your video. No, it will not be a downcrowded Arkansas. It'll be a record sellout loud environment. Why? Why? Like this, I want to hammer this out for 1 minute. Then we go to the calls. Is it only a Notre? It's somebody. This is not sarcasm. I'm genuinely asking. Is this only a Notre Dame phenomenon that when you're losing games and not playing good, and then you have a home day game the next week, it's not a lively crowd? Is that just a Notre Dame thing? Like, that's what I'm asking. They are down and out and miserable and on pins and needles, wondering if their season's falling apart too. You had a brutal loss last week. Everybody's upset. The media and the fans want to fire the head coach. Now you have this game again. Is it just because Notre Dame's in town? So magically everything's fine, like that anxiety goes away and we're loud and proud? Like is it just a Notre Dame-y thing that when you have bad stuff go on, that next home game is kind of dead with the vibe? And maybe the answer is yes. When it's a Notre Dame home game, the Notre Dame fans are used to Notre Dame. But when it's an away game, that's a treat to have Notre Dame come and you want to beat them. So then the record gets thrown out and you just get excited no matter what. Maybe that's the answer. That's fair. But it just feels like a Notre Dame thing that if you have a day game after some bad happens before, the week before, it's not a great vibe. I don't know. $2 Aller. Fendi missed the playoffs because of the D Ashes fired. Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm not even in the mood yet to start talking about the longer term of if this is a problem all year, what needs to happen and what you do from there. I'm not even there yet. You have an immediate fire you got to run through before you even get to the big picture. $10 Aller. It's not the players. Last year, we bragged with all the injuries. We could still beat top 10 teams with the backups, especially up front. Now those backups are starters and they all regress. No, that's the other. It's a very good point, Rotate. There's a lot of guys that made a lot of plays. There's a lot of guys that made a lot of plays, and now they're not making a lot of plays. SPF and Kent are saying, oh, John just wouldn't understand. I guess it's just a Notre Dame thing then, that it's just the vibe depends on how the team plays, and everywhere else they just show up and be loud no matter what. I guess it's a Notre Dame thing, whatever. $10 Aller. Hard for good corners to cover when there's no pass rush. You can only cover a guy for so long. It's what did John Fox say? There was that famous line when he was with the Bears. They were asking about the defense, and they brought up 10 different things that were going wrong. And John Fox just said, it's all a problem. He just said, it's all a problem. And I remember they replay the clip over and over as a soundbite. Whenever something bad happened, they just go, it's all a problem. So, yeah, I guess Notre Dame's just not big time, man. And in the SEC, you cannot be good and still fill up a stadium and people are into it. Okay. Doesn't make sense to me, but whatever, man. I'm open to it. I guess it does. There is an angle of, I don't care what our record is. Notre Dame's coming to town, and it's always great to beat Notre Dame, so we're going to be loud and proud. At least then it's still a day game. They don't have till 7:30 at night to get all drunk. Can't be that loud, right? Like, I don't know. You know who the loudness doesn't bother? CJ Carr. The loudness doesn't bother CJ Carr. Final thing, then we hit a promo break and we give it to the calls the rest of the way. That's the other thing. The shame in all this is. You're doing a lot of exciting things on offense. You're starting to get more of what we've been asking for the offense. Quarterback that can make all the throws, has the arm. You can stretch the field a little bit. Show defenses those looks that make them not sell out, stop the run, and just take the chances on a pass to a tight end over the middle on 3rd and 8. Like, you're doing all this stuff, right? You're doing all this stuff, and you almost can't celebrate it and embrace it and enjoy it and dive into it because you have a fight. That's like all my Notre Dame memorabilia is in one room and it's fine and I want to look at it and enjoy it. But in the other room, it's on fire. That's what this feels like. There's a lot you could start to invest in and like on the offensive side of the ball right now. But the room right next to you in your house is on fire. So you can't afford to just sit in this room and admire the parts you do like when the other room is in an emergency. That's what this feels like. That's what this feels like. And it sucks. And it sucks because you got a quarterback that has a lot of upside, the kind of guy we've been begging for, and you can't even almost enjoy it because the other side of the ball's not doing their part. It's really, really tough. Yeah, Bob, this is a good point. Goolsby does always say this. Without pressure, the coverage doesn't matter. And with pressure, the coverage doesn't matter. We're going to get into some of my keys here in between a couple of the calls. So, this is a very, very odd, weird feeling, you guys. City cheers, and we'll be back with your calls. Every dollar matters when you run a club, bar, restaurant, or country club. Lost tabs, slow payments, and walkouts cut into your profits fast. That's why venues trust the City Cheers app. With City Cheers, guests can receive promo details for your upcoming events and open and close their tabs right from their phones. Payments are instant, your walkouts will drop, and your team saves time with fewer card runs and less hassle for everybody involved. Managers get real-time reporting and transaction tracking so you know exactly what's happening on the floor from sales to staff performance. Servers can handle more tables with less effort, boosting check averages and increasing their tips. And when your staff works smarter, not harder, morale goes up, service speeds up, and turnover goes down, creating a smoother, more profitable operation every single night. Protect your profits, empower your team, and simplify your business with City Cheers. This app is built for venues that want to win. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, call friend of the show and loyal Notre Dame son, Tom Frawley, at 773-332-7742 today. Be sure to tell him Always Irish sent you. Oh, Chicago's very own Tom Frawley. You got Kenny Mitch, which used to be Ronald McDonald. He's saying, I knew this was going to happen a long time ago. I never believed it, Freeman, that whole thing. I struggle with that, you guys. Like, you can't. It's easy to blame him now, but did you not give him any credit when they were winning the playoff games and think he had things going in the right way? Like, I have trouble with the lack of consistency. Like, if the team's doing bad, Freeman deserves most of the blame. But if the team's winning, you got to give him most of the credit. So then where does it land? So I just want the consistency. I needed, when we were winning playoff games, I didn't see comments saying, oh, yeah, Freeman's no good at this. It's just tough. But there is an argument. There is an argument, though, that like if this year spirals away from you, what you have on the ledger on the one good year and then the other years, but then there's going to be an argument that the first couple years were building years and you had to rebuild the roster and get the staff in that you wanted. Yeah, on that, right? But for a while, you were able to say, we feel like we have top coordinators on each side of the ball. So I don't know, man. It's really tough. All right, let's get to the calls. Tim, you're coming up first. I'm going to politely ask you before I bring you up to censor yourself with any political messages or any insults that may be taken that way so that I don't get another batch of emails very upset with your last call. It's so we're going to try and keep it clean. Tim, what's up?
Okay, first of all, I apologize.
That's
Don't want to
okay.
get you in trouble.
That's okay. I would like to avoid the problem. So we're going to keep it football related, Tim. What do you make of where we're at? Do you agree with my feelings and thoughts on it? What do you think, Tim?
Well, first of all, I want to say that anybody would say you're not a diehard Notre Dame fan is a joke. Look, as much as I want to see Notre Dame win, I wouldn't pick them. And let's say we pull this game out. You honestly think we're going to run the table? No way. Ash's ego took over. He should have kept everything the same. You had the talent there. Why would you change anything? I don't get that. And he did. You're implying different things that saying the players weren't happy. Well, where's Freeman? He's got to have a pulse on the team. I would hope.
Yeah, ultimately, it ultimately lands on Freeman's desk. It has to. he made the hire, and he's got to dig his way out of this and figure it out, man. You're right.
I mean, this could be his Waterloo because I agree with you. Let's say because you honestly think we're going to shut SC down. No. You thought we're going to be able to play sound football and shut Navy down?
Oh, I thought of that. Tim, I thought of that the other day. I'm not prepared to really dive into it, but I thought of that. If this is the amount of confusion and everything you have now, what is going to happen when you play Navy? I have no idea what you're going to get, whether it's going to be better or worse, but I have more immediate flames I got to tamp down now. Do you feel any better based off the second half of Purdue where it seemed like Notre Dame played a little better? I'm just asking because I've seen some people say, I thought they played better in that second half and they tightened things up. Maybe we're trending up. Like, I'm just asking.
No, God, no. Because what quality of opponent were you doing it against?
Yeah, man.
Purdue had, 45 transfers in? This is fool's gold. Arkansas should be coming in undefeated because I watched that whole game while you were at the tailgate. I'm glad you got home safe. They're good. They've got enough skill. They choked 2 games away. They should be undefeated.
Yeah.
I don't know what state, but when's the wheels going to come off? Because here's the other thing that may happen is that, let's say, God forbid, we drop this game or another game down the line.
Ooh.
You're going to have people, running backs might opt out. You'll do it before the bowl game because they're not. With this new playoff system, we're not playing for anything. Why the hell are we going to take a chance to get injured?
Tim, that's another part of this I've thought of. How bad does it have to get before some agent tells Jeremiah Love, why are you going to be out here hurdling, risking your ACL for a 4-loss, team halfway through October? Maybe you need to think about, shutting it down. Like, this is the modern world we live in. And it isn't an insult to the players at all, but it's the modern world we live in. I'm not casting judgment on whether that's right or wrong. I'm just saying there's a lot of danger of this thing spiraling. And the recruiting is a part of it as well that I would start to worry about if this continues. It isn't going to be a 1 year and then we're all better. Like, if you start losing defensive recruits over this is a compounding issue because of one hire. You got to avoid it.
As of yet, we haven't anybody decommit, right?
Nope, not yet. But I could see where this is headed if you let things spiral. But Tim, you're right. This is a 1 week by 1 week white knuckle, hold on and hope you survive the moment type deal. There is no bigger picture concept right now. It is, can you survive the next game with only your 2 losses and move on? Like, this is just a week by week, cross your fingers, hope they figure things out deal. And I'm very uncomfortable.
Well, somebody made an excellent point. We did, look, everybody regressed. Why did that happen? And I'm not I wasn't an X and O's guy. I didn't play football. Goolsby would be the one to ask. Is this strictly just coaching, the schemes they're putting in, namely the defensive coordinator? What happened? We were playing with backups and we were beating quality teams to get to the way of the title. Now we look like we've never know how to play defense.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand we played a couple of teams, but no, we're not fundamentally sound. And like you said, you're pointing around, you're doing this. You don't know what you're doing. You're not reacting. This team was supposed to just be able to react.
Yeah.
Now we're like fools. It's funny. Holtz had this problem. I know you were too young, but 92, when we played Florida and upset them because they thought they were going to roll over us because our defense was really pathetic. So let's not fry Freeman because it happens. Holtz hired a couple bad defensive corners. Rick Minner was one of the top ones. And so he had to step in and take it over. So it's happened in the past. But I think the other thing is going to be the Freeman's downfall. He lives and dies too much his Ohio State ties. He does.
Yeah, I understand. I understand those are his roots, but I push back whenever I hear, how did we end up in this position? Well, Tressel and Urban recommended Ash. So what? Well,
okay, let me ask you a question. Is where Notre Dame's program was at last year? Why wouldn't the guy that we hired was in scouting? What's the old adage?
Yeah.
Why wasn't he coaching?
Yep.
If he's good enough to coach,
Goolsby says it all the time. Like, if you're good enough to play, you play. If you're good enough to be a head coach, you're a head coach. If you're good enough to be a regular coach, you coach. And if you're not good enough at any of that, you're an analyst. He says it all the time.
But I mean, think about it. With all the talent you knew you had on that defense, unless these recruiting range, we were loaded. And we haven't had really any major injuries, a couple here and there, but are you kidding me? No, what this comes down to is Ash's ego took over. Because you know that it's not just Ash, it happens all over the place. Where the coach, instead of just trying to win the game, they'll call something just to make themselves the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not a smart person because I'm low IQ, but we'll go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just my tip.
Yeah, it's so I don't know, man. And so for this week, I think it's going to be high scoring. And I do believe Notre Dame's going to be able to move the ball on these guys, but you better take advantage of the opportunities you have, and you better score a lot of points because you may need them. So Tim, I don't know.
I told all my friends, if you're a betting person, take the overs and ride it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely take the over here. So we're going to have to see what happens. I'm very uncomfortable. And you just hope one of these weeks, it looks like they're more put together on defense. Anything else, Tim? Thanks for starting us off.
No, well, first of all, I'll apologize again. I hope I'm good. Is Dr. John okay? He's usually your first call on Wednesdays.
Yeah, he's been busy, man. He reached out to me, and the Wednesday morning thing, he isn't going to be able to do it as regularly. He's got a lot going on. So as far as I know, he's still fine.
Yep. Okay, that's all that matters.
Yep. As far as I know, he's fine.
Let's pray. Let's pray we're not 4-8, but I have a feeling that's the way we're headed.
Ooh, baby. I think the offense is too good to allow that. But we got to get this one, Tim. Thanks a lot, buddy. Have a good day.
Take care.
See ya. Man, this is tough. Asking what BK has done, like Freeman really done something different, is crazy. I mean, Brian Kelly's off to a great start this year. The Clemson win looks a lot less good now, but you got it when you needed it, when that was a big top 10 moment. They look good right now. But Kelly still got to win a bunch of playoff games, right? Like you have one guy who's made it to the title game and won a few playoff games, and one guy that looks like he's in line to make the playoff, but he's still got to do that to catch up to the high level that Freeman reached in the new place, right? I think that's fair. And the other thing somebody got to answer about this LSU thing. Is this just a lucky year in SEC scheduling? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see them playing any of the most talented teams in the SEC. Am I wrong? I don't see no Georgia on there. I don't even think they're playing the best teams in the SEC. Alabama, I guess, because they're Alabama, but you don't have no Texas. You don't have no Georgia. Is there even a Tennessee? You're avoiding all of the teams with the top talent in the SEC, unless I'm wrong and I forgot their schedule. So they should be cruising, bro. Cruising. Andrew, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, John? How are you, man?
Well, I'm okay, man. This has just kind of got me on edge, man. You lost your identity, and it just has me questioning my existence, you know?
Well, yeah, I wanted to call in because, listen, I'm not going to sit here and defend Ash. He's the common denominator when in terms of the coaching staff and this ridiculous drop off. But I do think it's important to also discuss how overhyped the roster was, because I think we're dealing with two things. We might have bad coaching, but we also, I think, have a totally overhyped roster. I'm looking at
but wait, Andrew, isn't it? I don't like when people say, "Is this a player issue or whatever, or is it the scheme and the coaching or whatever?" It's both. I don't think you end up in the position we're in to be this behind the eight ball defensively unless it's a blend of both. Don't you agree? It isn't one or the other.
I agree.
You may be able to weight one more than the other, but they're both a part of the ingredients that are making us where we're at.
I agree, but just look at your chat. It's all Ash is the problem. We saw these players be good, and quite frankly, the people saying we saw these players be good don't know what they're talking about. Let's look at. I was going to go through just quickly. 6 players we lost, 6 starters that were not only ridiculously experienced, were their best players on their defense that we lost off of last year's team. Riley Mills, defensive tackle, had 7.5 sacks. The people trying to replace him are Onier and Heinrich. Will they even combined to 7.5 sacks? Hell no. And then you got Howard Cross, who was like a captain, 6-year player, nose tackle, 4 sacks. I mean, I like Rubio, but do you see Rubio getting 4 sacks? I don't see that. Then you got Kaiser. He's 10 times better than Bowen is. Bowen's the most overrated linebacker that Notre Dame's ever had, possibly. Then you got X Watts, who's probably the best safety we've ever had. Maybe Tay Johnson by the end of the year could be an X Watts, but he's not him. And then I think the biggest two that are killing us right now, other than losing X Watts, were Ben Morrison. I hated the disrespect your chat gave to Ben Morrison. Ben Morrison played the tough part of the Notre Dame schedule, hurts his hip, and he goes out with an injury. Then Christian Gray replaces him as the field corner, which is the toughest corner position, and plays a bunch of losers, like teams without a quarterback or no wide receiver for most of the schedule. Then they finally play USC that actually had wide receivers, and he gets torched. He did have a good game against Penn State, but they had no wide receivers. He got torched against Georgia, and he got torched against Ohio State. It's like losing Ben Morrison was huge for this team. Gray is not a good enough replacement, and then for whatever reason, Leonard Moore just only wants to play the boundary, so that doesn't really help us out. And then Jordan Clark at nickel was like the most underrated player on the team last year. I mean, that guy held it down. Did he get beat sometimes? Sure, but he was a really good player. And Carson Hobbs stinks, and now we're resorting to playing a true freshman. You know what I mean? And then we got Zachary as another true freshman who's playing both corner spots, which just shows you how lack of depth we have. I mean, think about guys like College getting on the field. Ben Minnick is showing up on the depth chart. Don't tell me this is a loaded depth chart. Those guys should not be on any depth chart right now. That's why you see some true freshmen now creeping up, like Blair and Ethan Long and stuff like that. It's because those guys actually have some talent, but they're just so young. So they lost a ton of experience off of the D last year. And so, yeah, you can say Ash isn't hitting all the numbers, but let's even talk about Ash real quick. Why did they get Ash? And what I would answer is this: they didn't get Ash just because Urban Meyer told them to. They got Ash because he was desperate, and they needed a desperate type coach. And it was the same deal when they got Golden. What self-respecting, awesome defensive coordinator, whether in the NFL or college football, is going to come into a situation and say, and be okay with the head coach making all the hiring decisions of the assistants, telling you exactly what defense to run, and you have no roster input whatsoever. Like, I mean, it was funny. Like, can you imagine them presenting that to Jim Knowles last year when Jim Knowles was sort of a free agent going around to see who he wanted to sign with? Jim Knowles probably would have laughed in Freeman's face. Like, no, I want to hire my assistants. I want to have roster input, and I'm going to run whatever defense I want to run. No, that's not what was on the table. It wasn't on the table when they hired Golden, and it wasn't on the table when they hired Ash. You had to run Freeman's defense. Freeman had all the hiring decisions. So that's why you end up with a guy like Ash who's off the scrap heap, And so I would say in terms of a guy off the scrap heap, he's pretty good. He actually won a national championship, and he's been well respected by other coaches. But don't expect like you're going to get the best defensive coordinator in the country with those types of limitations. I mean, tell me where I'm wrong.
But if you're saying the deal was you got to come in there and run what they've been running, which was good enough, why does it look so different now? Why is it obvious that it's looking different? If the whole deal was come in here and run it the way we've been running it, and it looks all different and everybody's confused.
It's different because listen to Marcus Freeman. If you're somebody, you're in the press, you've seen all of his pressers. He woke, and I've heard Tim Hyde talk about this. He woke up after that national championship game against Ohio State, and he's like, we cannot be solely dependent on middle linebacker. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cold. Middle linebacker blitzes and playing man coverage. And so the mantra all year long has been, we're going to get pressure with 4. So they overrated the defensive line they had, and especially the defensive ends they have.
Yeah.
But we're going to get pressure with 4. And then we're going to play zone because we're not going to get beaten man the way we got beaten man against Ohio State. We're going to change things up. So you could say, hey, Ash came in and changed things up, but he's just doing what Freeman told him to do. And I think, and I feel very strongly about that. Now, where I criticized Ash is like, what were they in the coaching staff was, what are they watching in fall camp? Because like, how does Carson Hobbs go from a starter quality person to like not even being on the depth chart, and then other things like that. And then like you mentioned how confused they look. That's how every loser team looks. When they get beat, they don't want to say, hey, that's on me. They're pointing to someone else when they get beat, because that's what losers do. So I would just say that they lost a ton of experience off their defense last year. It was Freeman and Freeman's decision only to go out and get a coordinator and tell him, you got to run Algon's defense. And, oh, by the way, don't do his blitzes. You got to get pressure with 4, and then we got to mix in a lot more zone. That's what Freeman's been saying the whole time.
Andrew, you saying loser team is making people laugh. Just the way you said it, that's what every loser team says. It's funny in the saddest way. Hey, people want to know too, Andrew. Hope your mom's okay. You and Tom Frowley were the two people everyone was asking about at the tailgate. So I wanted you to know your presence was there in spirit.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm still here in San Diego, trying to work from San Diego and spend time with the family. So I appreciate you asking. But so I just think that, and then just real quickly, John, my last point on this is everybody who likes this recruiting class and who likes what Freeman has been building, who'd want Ash to succeed, because it's like so easy. Like 90% of your chat is like, fire Ash, fire Ash, fire Ash. Okay, like I get it. It's been bad, man. Like I get why you're saying that. But you tell me, John, if you fire Ash, you got one of two decisions to make. Number one is Freeman. You could be like Elko and Venables and say, hey, we're going to keep this class together by me taking over the play calling duties on defense, and I'll keep the staff intact, the guys that recruited all these guys. Or B, you go out and you really get a big time guy. But and what I would say to you is this: like, look at Miami. Like Mario Cristobal has always prided himself on recruiting and roster development and all that stuff. He's a shitty or bad in-game coach, but he's a heck of a recruiter. Well, what did that Corey Heatherman, and a guy who only had 1 year of experience as defensive coordinator, he came in and completely overhauled Miami's roster, specifically in the secondary. And so I would just say to you is that, like, if you think this roster is so great, if you go outside again and you need to hire a big name defense coordinator, he's not going to let Freeman dictate to him what he's going to run. He's going to be just like Denbrock. He's going to come in and say, hey, I'm the head coach of the defense. I'm going to revamp this roster. I'm going to fire all these loser assistants. I'm going to get my own assistants in there. And so you're going to deal with major change. So if you're good with major change, then advocate for Ash to get fired. If you're not good with major change and you hope to salvage the situation, you hope that Ash gets it right and they figure this thing out.
Oh, so. Man, it's tough stuff, Andrew. That is just tough stuff. So you got to navigate your way out of it and maybe win a shootout this week to kick the can down the road, hanging on by a thread, I guess. Andrew, thanks a lot, buddy. We missed you at the tailgate. Hope everything's okay.
Hey, thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. Take it easy. Yeah, Tom Frowley and Andrew Gilmore, the two people, everybody that came up to me at the tailgate were like, are they here? Are they here? I want to meet them. Because everybody met Martinez. That was the number one, and everybody met him. We are not Marshall. Let me ask you this. 100K Screaming Hog fans. That is going to disrupt Carr early. Can we score 40 on the road? I would like to think if Carr was able to navigate like on the road at Miami and all of that stuff, and then kind of navigate the intensity of the A&M moment, man, I have a hard time believing a noon game, even in the SEC, that a noon game crowd is going to mess with him. I would really like to think that maybe I'm underestimating it, and it just means more in the SEC, and it's going to be crazy. But it's not like a night game where people have 12 hours to drink and get loud. I would just like to think that isn't going to be the biggest factor, but I don't know. 918, what's going on?
Hey, John. How are you this morning, buddy?
I'm okay, man. We're just trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah. So quick question. And this, I'd love to see what the chat room's going to say. If we waterboarded Chris Ash, what would his response be as to what's going on with our defense?
You know what? You know what?
Is he going to blame himself? Is he going to point fingers at the staff? What's he going to do?
You know what I asked? Rhetorically, I asked, why is there never like a media opportunity with these coordinators? Every once in a while, I see a quote from Denbrock, but like, is there never an opportunity for the coordinators to get up there and have to answer questions about what's going right or wrong? How much would you love to see the media ask Ash questions for 15 minutes to see what he says? Like, you just get to kind of be behind the scenes forever. I don't know. It's like, I would like to hear from the guy. How do you drive around South Bend, man? Like, don't you feel like you're letting the whole thing down?
Well, and see, this is where a lot of us get caught up in the emotion of it. Fire the guy. Okay. And I love over the past few years, people saying, get rid of Brian Kelly or get rid of Marcus Freeman. In the moment in some of those years, you have to look at it logically and see who is your replacement. What's the solution? If you get rid of Chris Ash, let's just say you did, and I get why people were looking at this from an outside perspective with the fact that the other day Oklahoma State lets Gundy go after years of him being there, alum, all that stuff. And then Deshaun Foster gets let go at UCLA. So everybody, to include myself. Now, my question that I posed on Twitter was, if Deshaun Foster can be let go at UCLA, why can't we make a move with Ash? Now, that didn't mean fire him. Okay, it would just be, it's any business decision. And Marcus Freeman right now, for what it's worth, he's the guy running this business. I know there's Bavacqua ahead of him and all that. I get that, but just in-house, this is Marcus Freeman's business. Dude, you've got something here because you have some pedigree coaching in the NFL and college. So there's something here. Now, Marcus Freeman has got to go get the book called Traction. If you guys have been in business, some of you business people might know what that is. Marcus Freeman's got to find the right seat for Chris Ash. It may not be defensive coordinator this year. It may be co-defensive coordinator, in some capacity. Somehow, some way, Marcus Freeman has got to say, this is my ship. It is sinking right now. What are we going to do? You're the last man off the ship, by the way. So what are we going to do to keep it from sinking? What am I going to do to salvage this? He's got to make a big decision. And it's not beneath him. It wouldn't be beneath a head coach to say, look, we want you here. You can serve a purpose. And here's where your purpose is. And I don't know what that is. Maybe you put him up in the booth with binoculars and a set of headphones and let him call from up there. I don't know. Marcus Freeman's got to figure out what that is, because if he doesn't and he starts losing games, guess what, Marcus? We could care less about Chris Ash. We could care less about Mike Mickens. We're coming after you. Not me personally, but the alum, recruits are going to defect. The fan base is going to come after you. And I know you're not an optics guy and you can care less, but in the end, you're going to be the one holding all the cards in this because of things and moves that you didn't make early on when this thing was hit with a torpedo. Yeah, this thing is burning right now. You got to put the fire out, dude. You got to be Smokey the Bear. You can't be a fireman. You got to prevent these things from happening. Yeah, it's on you right now.
I asked the question as well. If all the loyalty Gundy had at where he was, and then the other team that fired was UCLA fired their DC after like 2 or 3 games. Like, there is no loyalty to Chris Ash. He's been here 2 minutes and everything's terrible. Like,
exactly.
So like, there is no, like, Mike Gundy, you could be like, look at all the times we've been through together for 20 years and whatever. And I'm a man, I'm 40, the whole thing. Like, there is no loyalty to Ash because he's been here 2 minutes. So, like, who has loyalty to Ash? But the next question is, how do you do that? What do? Do you kick him out completely, or do you demote him? Do you announce that? Do you not announce it, but it's behind the scenes? Do you do it after the year? Do you bring Mickens in, who's never called a play, and he does it as a trial run? Does Marcus have to do it? Like, Any path you choose has an offshoot of more decisions that are tough that need to be made. The best way to avoid all this was not to be in this position in the first place, damn it, because now you're in the forest.
You know, John, a couple years ago, before we brought Sam Hartman in, or when that experiment was going on, one of the questions that I posed was, people are like, well, we didn't develop Minchie, we didn't develop Angeli, Buckner, whatever. Okay, so early on in that season, before we brought Sam Hartman in, a lot of people pegged Notre Dame to go 9-3. So logistically, you're looking at the schedule, you're looking at your talent. We're not going to be there this year. We're going to be there. So why'd you bring in Sam Hartman? If logistically, I know you got to win games, but if you knew in your heart you weren't going to be a championship team, nurse these quarterbacks, because this is the season you can nurse them. You can look ahead, get these guys on the field, get them experience, but you didn't do that. So in the same fashion, what's the loss if you cut Ash today or yesterday or after the Purdue game? What is the loss? What have you got to lose looking forward, and what have you got to gain?
See, okay, here's my answer to that. If you really had to do something, Freeman would have to get up at the presser and go, we have standards for the Notre Dame defense that are not being reached, and they're not even close, and we're going in a different direction, and it's my decision. That would mean it's a bad look on him because it's an admission you made a terrible hire and it only lasted a month or whatever, or 2 months, however long. But on the flip side, people would respect you at least putting out the fire and trying to do something else. So again, the best thing you could do here is not to have to navigate these issues. There's no easy way out of this. There is no easy way.
What have you got ahead of you? Is the optics of getting rid of a coach and quote unquote looking bad? Is that what you're worried about? Or are you worried about losing to Arkansas, to Navy, to North Carolina State? What's the worst optic? To me, you got to win ball games. You got to get to that position. And I could care less for how it looks. Win a freaking football game.
Yeah.
Don't look sloppy to Purdue. I mean, this is on you right now, Marcus. And dude, trust me, people that know me from Twitter and all my pictures with Marcus Freeman, etc. If there's a Marcus Freeman guy in the fan base, it's me. I love that guy. I think he was a great hire for the time and everything. He's flipping this program around. I get it. But right now, you got pardon the phrase, but you got a bullseye on you right now, Marcus, and you got to rip that sucker off. Rip that Band-Aid off right now and make a move, make a decision.
Man, this is tough.
Hey, with that said, John, I'm going to the Arkansas game. So
awesome.
Because I live here in Oklahoma, so it's and here's the thing, right now, I love our fan base. I love everybody in your chat and everybody on Twitter. But my gosh, folks, let me just say, if you think the ship is sinking over in Arkansas because of their coach and everything, look, I guarantee you, the majority of the logical fans over there are licking their chops that Notre Dame is coming in this weekend. They're doing the same thing. Hey, we got a salvageable thing right here because Notre Dame's coming in. Let's run it up on them, whatever. I get it. We're limping in, they're limping in. So this isn't going to be no easy win for us. It's not. And whether it's high scoring or low scoring, we're in the same boat Arkansas is in. So don't diminish what's happening in Arkansas with their coach and their last second loss to Memphis, whatever. We blew chunks on the field against Miami and against Texas A&M. I mean, yes, they're better teams, but we didn't find a way to win those games either. So in the end, when we had it right there, we lost the games. And good God, how bad did we look against Purdue? So, I'm not taking Arkansas lightly. I want us to win the game, obviously.
You can't take anybody lightly. When you're playing this kind of defense, every single game, you're just white-knuckling it, hoping for the best. Like,
everybody right now on our schedule has us circled. I can't wait to play Notre Dame. And this is what's sickening and heartbreaking for you and for me and for everybody is that 3-game run last year with Indiana, Penn State, and Georgia, and even the way we performed in the championship game. My gosh, and I know Andrew kind of dissected, the roster compared to last year, and I get it, but you know what? Half those guys were hurt all year. So they didn't exactly play the entirety of the year. Some of these guys that are playing this year were there and were the stopgaps for them not being in the game. But there was so much promise going in this year. And like a lot of people pointed out, my God, we've got arguably one of the most talented quarterbacks, not only that we've had in years, but what college football's had in years. And next year and the year after that, however long he stays here, are going to be so promising for Notre Dame. But this year, you thought that if the defense could just hold their own, to God, we'd be undefeated right now. We would be undefeated. Yeah. We're not having these doom and gloom conversations or anything, but it is what it is. And we're here.
Man,
we've lost 2 games.
It's really tough. So go to the game and cheer for the Irish. And that's all you could do is your part and be there and try and cheer them on. And we'll see if they can scratch out a win here or figure it out, man. Hey, good call. Thanks a lot for reaching out today. Appreciate you.
Thanks, John. Have a great day.
Hey,
Go
safe
Irish.
travels, buddy. Safe travels to the game. How much time you got on the travel, buddy? I see an Arkansas number. I got to bring that up. I want to hear from somebody who's down in enemy territory. Okay. I asked the question and I received the answer. Andrew Gilmore. They do. Denbrock just sat down with the reporters on Tuesday. I saw the quotes from Denbrock, but I didn't see like the interview or whatever. So I was unaware whether that was a little thing behind the scenes or what it was. I missed that. So that's good to know. Ash is next week. It's going to be really, really interesting depending on how this game goes, how that goes. I have a feeling people are much more interested in hearing from Chris Ash than they are Denbrock, given where things are at. But good to know. So I asked the question, you're going to get an answer. What is it? Once or twice a year, they make the coordinators available into the season or whatever? Good to know. Thank you for the answer. Yeah, I saw those Denbrock quotes. I just didn't see didn't seek out the footage. $10 hour. I would agree with the gaslighting from Andrew if Golden didn't come in 22 with a far worse roster, but have a far better defense. Man, this is Phil, what are you laughing at? Are you laughing at what I put in there and then figuring out what it was in response to earlier in the thread? Tell me, just put yes if that's what you did. I can always count on Phil to get everything. Arkansas, are we calling from enemy territory? What's going on here?
What's up, John? It's Kennedy, man. I was just, yeah, bro. It's a little rough, bro. I swear to God, like when I first called you this year for my first call of the year, my first question was like, who's our defensive lineman to look for this year? And it seems to be that's like our worst nightmare. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. Man, this is the thing is, of all the ways you could see Notre Dame struggling this year, having one of the worst defenses in America wasn't on my list. And that is an existential thing that is messing with everybody's heads and most definitely mine. Right. I never thought if we were struggling, it was going to be because the defense just couldn't do anything. And it's really, really frustrating.
Exactly.
It's so frustrating. I thought, hey, your young quarterback struggling, something like that. I never if I thought of how we lose a couple games in the first 4, I on the list would not have been you play no defense at all and get torched. That wouldn't have been on the list. It is messing with our heads, bro.
Well, see, like I called in before the Miami game and I was just like gung ho, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I bit the bullet. I was like with it, you know what I'm saying? All the offense. And dude, I mean, just let me lay it out real quick. I only got a few things to say and we can discuss, man. But like, as far as the offensive line, I agree with everybody, man. Knapp is just, I'm seeing Knapp miss plays get thrown on his butt over and over. And then Emil.
Here's where, that's what I was going to say. When you look at the film and when Goolsby and Clark and I break down the film, they're starting to feel really good in the middle. And each tackle, like Knapp has his liabilities, in pass protection a lot. And then Goolsby is not a fan of Wagner's feet. He does not move you need a tackle to move. And he has, you're starting to feel better up the middle in the middle 3, but you do have liabilities out there on those tackles. And why is Notre Dame in that position? I thought you were all on you.
And that's where I was starting off with the offense, you know, with Love and Price and our running backs and, you know, the rest of the team, man. I felt so, like, secure. And to see that first game. And another thing that really kills me about the offensive line, they are pulling the guards and trying to get outside and leaving someone to rush straight through the middle. I'm like, every time we ran for a touchdown against Purdue, we ran every one of the offensive linemen forward, and we didn't do a pulling guard or something, because half the time we're doing it, they're missing the block and not getting there in time, and Love's already in the hole and someone's hitting him. And I'm just like, bro, what are we doing? Like, after you do it once or twice and you see there's a problem, you know what I'm saying? You've got to be able to adapt, you know what I'm saying? And like in the Miami game, dude, we had that game won. I don't know how we lost that game, other than Jim Brock throwing 40 passes
If
to
you're
the
saying,
sideline.
if you're saying we had that game
and
won,
so,
then you got to say we had the A&M game won too. Then
I know, dude. And I mean, it's just like the follow through of everything we've done. Like, we throw to the sideline, don't, you know, cater to the running backs. I feel like if we would have ran the game plan for Purdue against both the other teams, we win easily. And that's actually easing Carr into the game, throwing 10 passes and no runs versus 11 runs and 20 passes to the sideline. It's just, I was like, bro, I'm like, this is blowing my mind with the coaching versus the players. I understand we are returning a bunch of new players and this and that. And let me tell you, man, Tay Johnson, I feel like is going to take over for Watts, because Watts was an ex-wide receiver, if everybody remembers, that was turned into a safety. That's why he had such good ball skills. And Tay, out of high school, was a wide receiver, which we should actually have playing wide receiver, but we have him on, you know, safety when Jadair Blair, the 6'5" guy, I would rather let him have a shot out there. But, I mean, I think Tay being able to be the starter for this game is going to help us a little bit. But just to get out of those frustrations to get to Arkansas, bro, I feel like, I mean, it's our one ticket out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, you either prove it or you lose it. You know what I'm saying? I've lived here for like 20 years, man. I'm originally from Texas. And my family are diehard Arkansas fans, man. And I've been there for them for years. While they watch us go to championships and have great years, they'll be winning 2 games. And I'm my little nephew. I bought him tickets to multiple Arkansas games with his dad, and they've won their games. And I've always like, you know what I'm saying? You try to share the love in football, and I felt for him. And now we're playing this little dude, man, and my nephew is just biting at his lip to not try to get on.
Okay, man. All right.
Speed.
So you're more local, and I don't have any pipelines to anybody down there. What's the vibe? I've been reading the media, and they're very, very negative on Pittman. They're very upset about Memphis.
Dude,
like
they hate Pittman.
They're really upset. So like, we have our problems, but they have their problems too. It's an interesting battle of problems. That's what you're seeing.
Let me tell you, man. All right, first problem we got was when they let Petrino come back, which was unbelievable, right, as an offensive coordinator. The second problem was he transferred a 6'6", 230-pound quarterback that can throw the ball and run the ball. He was the fastest running back in the nation last year. 2 years ago when they recruited that kid, I told my nephew, bro, that is going to be a hard game now. Arkansas has sucked for years, man. They never do anything. I swear to God. I mean, I live with these people. They're crying their milk all day long. And, I mean, they got me when we lost to Marshall. I mean, they're trying to get on me, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, we have our problems here and there. But for the last 15 years, man, we've been riding high. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, Texas A&M, LSU, Alabama, those are games you could lose or at least play a good fight and be respectable, man. If you lose to Arkansas, they are the laughing stock of the SEC. Notre Dame cannot let this happen, man. But as far as locally, bro, they all hate Pittman. Yeah. They all their AD went on a luncheon and told the fans they don't have the resources to play for a championship in football, and they are blown away because they spend all their money on their basketball with Calipari. And so, like, they are paying people in basketball, but not football. So, like, they're all blown away that, you know, their program is where it's at. And they have not had anything for years, bro. This is the one thing that could save them for, 10 years down the road just to be like, bro, at least we beat Notre Dame. Because, I mean, usually when Notre Dame comes to play, they're bringing, you know what I'm saying, we got the dudes, right? And this is the one year that every team on our schedule is going up or has something going for them, especially Navy, which I'm going to see, and I'm super afraid, but I'm still rolling, you know what I'm saying, taking the family, spending the money. But, dude, I swear to God, Arkansas, they got all these transfers, which is killing football, period. But, I mean, they have a Washington, their running back Washington. He's fast. He's like a Jeremiah Love, but a little bit heavier. Their other running back, Russell, he's number 0. He was 240 pounds, man. He's like the running back we had before he got injured. This dude, I mean, it's like, I mean, if I had, and dude, their whole offensive line is over 350 pounds. It's like, we cannot put Heinisch out there in the first half. He needs to be out in the third to fourth quarter when their offensive linemen are tired, and he can actually do a loop around or something that is at his skills, not bull rush a 350-pound guy. But I mean, I feel like our running backs should have a day, bro. And I mean, we got to put it on their back and let them go with it. Jeremiah Love, he's, I mean, like a rocket, bro. Like, we don't get these players every other day. So, I mean, use them while you got them, man. Let's see what he's got. You know what I'm saying? Put it all on the offensive line. Tell him to run the ball down their throat regardless. And then if CJ's got an open pass, let him bomb it, man. The kid can throw downfield. That's why in the last 2 games, we didn't see one ball thrown to, 40 yards. Once they finally let the kid throw the ball down the field, I mean, watch all of his recruiting film, man. The kid's got an arm. He's not a dink and dunk passer versus a bomb. So use your advantage, man. Get phase on behind somebody, get Fields behind someone, and throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? Try to win a game versus trying to be scared. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
strengths, man.
I think Notre Dame should be able to move the ball here. You're going to have to put 7s on the board because it may take a lot of points. I think both offenses feel very confident they're going to be able to move the ball. So somebody's going to have to get a couple stops or a couple turnovers or get the other team behind the sticks. Like, that's the kind of game. That's the kind of game Notre Dame's in every week now, apparently.
Exactly. But see, Green, man, he threw 2 interceptions. If you can't get a rush with God, I swear to God, I pray to please blitz KVA and let's get Snead in a rush. Don't use them as linemen, but use them as linebackers to get rushes. Please to God, and put all of our biggest defensive linemen on the line instead of Heinisch. I love Heinisch for what he can do, but put him in the third quarter or fourth quarter when their offensive line is tired, not when they're fresh. But I mean, yeah, dude, their kicker can also, he's like the number 1 freshman coming out of high school too, man. So they can kick the ball.
Our kicker's hurt for the second year in a row. And then they gave him a chance, I think. And then he duck hooked one like me on number 1's tee after a late night out in a 6:30 tee time, bro. Straight up duck hook.
Exactly. So
duck hook, quack.
So we got to go for 4th downs. We got to go for 4th down conversions, man. If we have them, we got to go for them. And with a running back, please, if we're going to run for 1 yard or more, and you're going to have the quarterback out there, I don't care who it is, either let Love block for the running or the quarterback, or just have the quarterback hand off to the running back and run straight through the middle and don't pull any guards. Just go forward. Like, if anything, Love would have had that 1 first down if he didn't cut it out because the hole was there in the middle.
Dude, I can feel the stress, man. You needed to get this out, bro. You needed to get it out.
Oh, bro.
If you got that frustration, your heart laid it out.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, these guys have been waiting. My whole family, bro, they're over here just licking their chops. Like, bro, this is the only year they wanted to play Notre Dame. Like, every other year they've ever seen, a Notre Dame team, I mean, they would be like, bro, we would get smashed 50-0. But this is the 1 year they have their opportunity. And you don't think they're going to throw the kitchen sink in? Because, I mean, supposedly that Pittman, if he doesn't do good in this game or, whatever, they're talking about Petrino could be backdooring for the head coach job or fire Pittman right after this game. So they're going to throw everything out there, bro. So, I mean, and like you said, it's the perfect opportunity for our defense to step up and get the pass game under control, or at least blitz the linebackers and get some pressure, because I cannot stand to watch another game where the offense just walks down the field back and forth with no effort. And they're just dinking dunking to wide open, receivers with zone defense 4 yards. Like you said, the magnet deal. I mean, they're almost like 2 yards away, 4 yards away every time. I mean, just please God, defense it sucks, man. I love our players. I feel like even though we've had all these guys go out, I feel like the players are there, man. You got to put them in position and let them go and hunt. Like, come on, please.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, it feels like the last stand here, and you need to stabilize things and get out of here with the win. Buy yourself another week, man. I need you to call back Friday or call me after the game and let it out after all this. I hope you feel better that you were able to vent. That's what we're here for.
Yes, I was, man. And like I said, man, I love your show. I love your nation, bro. And I'm going to meet Holtz that Friday before the game, man. Ian Book's supposed to be at the little meet-up, so it's going to be at Notre Dame tailgate. So, dude, I'm sure I'll be flying high after that, and I'm just going to pray to God and do every little superstitious thing I can do, man, for everything possible, man. And for all the Notre Dame fans that are going to the game, man, because right now they have 4 different Notre Dame clubs that are coming to the game from all over Missouri, Texas, Louisiana. I mean, dude, they're coming, man. And the tickets are getting down to like $60 a piece. So it's like, I feel like, if anything, dude, they're not going to have a crazy crowd. It's not going to be wild and crazy. And if we can get more Notre Dame fans up in there, that'll take it down even more, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Appreciate the call.
You, man.
I'm
Hang
with
in there,
man.
buddy. Hang in there. Hang in there, buddy. Yeah, give me a call back if you need to Friday or Saturday after the game. I feel like that guy, man, he needed to get it. If you got that Notre Dame anxiety, let it out. Man, that dude needs you need to claim major anxiety and get a medical card so you have tax-free whatever you need, man. That guy, I think you need it. Gummies, baby. You need something, dude. You need something. I just picture that guy laying on like a black couch in a dark room and calling in. The Johnny B&G edit is posted on Twitter. That's good to know. That's good to know. Oh gosh, that is good stuff. 402, what's going on? Welcome.
Johnny, how you doing, man? I hope things are going good for you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we had a good time last Saturday. We did the best we could at the tailgate. Everybody that was there we were having fun. It's just there's a pall of anxiety that's kind of hovering over all of Notre Dame land right now. People are very wound tight for very good reasons.
I see that, man, and it's completely understandable. I've seen this kind of thing before with a football team that has a good offense, and the offense is turning upward while the defense is just stagnant. I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't think your guys' defense is getting worse. They're just plateauing right now and not progressing. And when I watched, the first game of the season, Miami, it does seem like the transition period from Al Golden to Chris Ash did not go well at all. And you can see the players looking more lethargic instead of off the ball, bringing in the juice, getting that championship defense back on track so Notre Dame can go undefeated and compete and make a deep run in the playoffs. They don't look like that. And then you point out a really great point that, well, they had a half a month to clean everything up and beat A&M. And that didn't happen. So it's just like, so what exactly is the solution for defense and how much Marcus Freeman is willing to get involved in? And that's the biggest mystery right now. What do you think, John, about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest question is the disconnect between what Freeman feels like he could say in a press conference in front of the media versus the reality of the discussions and the actions that are happening behind the scenes. And I don't know that anyone really has that answer. You know that Freeman knows this is bad, but there are limitations of what he's going to tell the public up front. And then you want to know what is going on behind the scenes. If he wanted to be that overarching CEO type guy, hands off, let the coordinators do your thing. You don't have that luxury right now. And so that's the big question is what's going on behind the scenes? What is the messaging? How hands-on is Freeman? What are they trying to do? You're in an emergency situation.
And one thing I do want to clear up, like, and I don't think you hear this rumor or theory at least that, Urban Meyer, Jim Tressel, hire this guy to sabotage Notre Dame. And I just want to point out something very interesting. 2015, Urban Meyer made one of the worst hires on the offense with Tim Beck as a co-offensive coordinator. And that year there was a lot of struggle with the consistency because we had JT Barrett. It was Cordell Jones. Excuse me. He was replacing Tom Herman. Tom Herman was but anyways, we had a deficiency on one side of the ball because of a bad hire. And that's just me. I'll let people think whatever they think. But I personally do believe that if Notre Dame wants to turn this season around, Marcus Freeman is going to have to get involved. I think that the Chris Ash so far is not taking traction, and I think that he needs to get involved if Notre Dame wants to have the chance of making it into the playoffs. I said a year ago when I first called and said to you that, when Notre Dame don't lose two games because you're going to have a really hard time, like with other conferences, 3-loss SEC team or a 3-loss Big Ten team. Like you do have that, dynamic now. It's basically Notre Dame has a chance to write their own history, or maybe next year, bro. That's where I'm at. I'm going to be still optimistic. This team has a lot of potential. It's just a matter of time when this team wakes up. And I'm hoping it's not the last month of the year, but this team at some point is going to wake up. Something is going to dawn in. This team is going to hit all cylinders, and you guys are going to be like, where was this at the whole season? And I hope it's not during the last weeks of college football. Other than that, I'm still optimistic. I'll say that I'll put Notre Dame over Arkansas by a field goal, walk-off field goal. That's this. If you guys lose this game, I'm going to be like, maybe next year, you guys. This year ain't your year. I'll be nice and generous. I hope you guys win. I hope that Notre Dame turns it around this season, and only time will tell what's going to happen next, John. I appreciate your time. That's all I got for you, bud.
Hey, thank you very much, man. Have a good day. Thanks for the call. Man, he always has a list and he gets to it, damn it. ND by 2 scores. You could throw whatever like score prediction you want. I just think it's fair. Like, I just think you could throw it off. I throw it out there. I don't know what to expect. That guy needs an emotional support animal. Oh boy. 970. What's going on?
Hey, Johnny.
What's up?
So I'm also heading down to Arkansas. So a bunch of Zom guys that I've been buddies with for the last 10 years or so have their tailgate. So it's going to be an interesting event down there. As I called in before the A&M game, I said I was going to be a lot less optimistic if we found a way to lose that one. And I went back and watched that game again. And what's frustrating me the most was if you watch our first 2 defensive drives, like, man, we were super aggressive. The defense looked like it was flying around. And then something changed. And we changed the play calling. And we just went back to this passive defense. And it doesn't make any sense to me. And again, we did a similar thing, but the opposite against Purdue, where in the second half, it was like a lot more aggressive. And it was just like, why are we doing this to ourselves? And it's driving me insane because it's like, you see the flashes and what it's supposed to be. And then it's like, okay, we're also going to go do this other thing over here. Or it's like, but why? If this is working, like, why are we not doing this? The old Bear Bryant thing, right? If you're going to run the ball to the right, if you can't stop it, I'm going to run this exact same play 1,400 times.
Yeah. Man, it is just...
and then, go ahead.
There's just so many more questions than even potential answers that would satisfy anybody right now. It's just a really tough place to be, man.
The big thing for me, like, sorry, I completely lost my train of thought there. Okay. Sorry, my daughter's getting after me right now. Rare time that I'm actually home at this hour. But yeah, no, man, like, I just, like, Sorry, Johnny, I completely lost my train of thought. I'll call back another time.
Oh, that's okay, man. Take care of your daughter. Yeah, take care of your daughter, buddy. That priorities, man. Priorities. He didn't even try to power through it. He was just like, nope, it's gone. See ya. I love it. I like that. Oh, man. Oh, this is tough. 847, what's going on? First time caller? I don't see a call history here. Illinois, what's up?
Hey, this is Dylan McGuire, John, out of Chicago, just calling in, fired up. You know, there's a lot of negativity right now in Irish world, and I understand the 0-2 start, okay, everyone, but there is a lot of positives to take away from the offensive side of the ball, and I want people to remind themselves of that, especially with our guy CJ Carr. CJ Carr is the future of this program. And I want all Irish Nation to know that, you know, down in Fayetteville this weekend, we're going to be roasting some hogs. Okay. We're going to be getting the boys fired up, and CJ is going to light them up. And, you know, the defense is going to come around, guys. You got to trust the process here. I know we're all frustrated with Ash, but, excuse me, some people are calling him ass. But, you know, the bottom line is this team has a bright future. And, you know, I don't know if we've had a quarterback in decades since CJ Carr. And I know that's a bold statement. It's early, but the guy's getting down to his second and third read for a young quarterback this age. I'm just super impressed. And look forward to it, honestly.
Man, that's a frustrating part of what's going on to me is I would like there to be way more articles and podcasts and YouTube videos about the ascension of CJ Carr into this role. And that he's done just about as good as anybody could hope for. And I wish I could do more of that content, but when the room right next to you is on fire, it's really, really hard for people to lean in on the good parts. So I'm glad that you called and brought it up though, because it is fair.
Well, and one more thing, John, too, is just that, you know, I brought this question up actually from a diehard Notre Dame fan. I mean, I said this last week, we were all huge Riley Leonard fans. And, you know, we were third in Riley last year, as you know, and so much confidence. But I said, you know, when you have a throwing quarterback like this, the ability you know, the supplement of running and throwing the ball, that balance is huge. And with Riley, we could run it, right? But it was a little less throwing. He wasn't a bad thrower as much as people said he could be at times. I think he took a little too much heat throughout the year for that. But I ask a lot of Notre Dame fans, you know, from what you've seen in the first three games, you know, you go back to the Ohio State game last year. I know some people may think this is a hot take, but like, would you rather have the offense you have today in Ohio State championship last year or the one that Riley Leonard led? And to be honest, I'm starting to lean towards the CJ Carr one because of the ability to throw the football. That's what got us back into the game, John, except for the one series at the opening series of the game when we ran it 15 times to Leonard. It's just not sustainable to do that the whole game.
I get what you're saying. Here's the frustration. The frustration is right when you feel like you're getting an offense that looks more like what you wanted, that can really threaten you through the air and with the run and be a little more dynamic. Right when you get there, the bottom falls out of the defense. And you don't ever, the problem with modern Notre Dame is it doesn't all peak at the same time. If something's up, another thing is low, and it washes out in the middle of what you could be. That's the frustration. Right when you start to get a more dynamic offense, the defense falls off a cliff and you end up in no man's land. That's the frustration.
No, couldn't agree more. And I think my only other comment is my hope with the whole CJ Carr situation is, you know, at the end of the day, when you have a really good quarterback, I've noticed through the portal and with recruiting, you start to recruit the receiver position pretty well because guys want to be where there's a good quarterback when you're attacking the air. And, you know, I think this is a good year of Notre Dame receiving core. I don't know how many we've had in the last 10 years, but my last comment, I just hope that will continue, John. That's all. But I really appreciate all that you do.
Hey, thanks a lot for calling, man. Save the number, call again. Always good to have more Chicago people in the mix locally here. Thank you.
Go Irish.
Have a good one. Oh, man. It's a good little quick first-time caller. 386 up in the mix. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, John? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. What's up?
Nothing much. I just wanted to say thank you again for the hospitality and having us at the tailgate. Me and Tyler really enjoyed our time, and yeah, it's always a pleasure seeing the family.
Man, it was great. It was great. We have a really good, loyal crew, and it's growing, and more people are coming and feel welcome. Now more people know each other. It's a beautiful thing. I love we're doing our part.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm currently working. Is there any bad background noise right now? Because
It's
I'm on the
not
weed
too
eater.
bad. Nope, it's not too bad.
Okay, cool. Well, I just wanted to hop in pretty quick and just say thank you again for what you do, and shout out to everybody that me and Tyler met at the tailgate. Everybody was awesome, and again, like you said, we're doing our part, trying to keep the vibes high here.
Yeah, that's all you could do. And this is a week by week thing, and it's going to be stressful. And you just kind of cross your fingers and hope they figure something out this time. I don't know what else to say with that defense, man. Stressing people out.
Yeah. Kind of like last year after we lost to Northern, a lot of people thought we were gonna lose another game, and we ended up running the table. So let's just do that same thing.
Yep, that's man. It's just so not where you wanted to be at this point in year 4 of Freeman, man. This is just
Right.
not where you can afford to be.
Yeah, not at all. But the only thing you can do is keep fighting at the Fighting Irish team, and that's what we're known for. Let's hope Freeman can make the right decisions here in the next couple of weeks, and then it's the Notre Dame way, man. We gotta figure it out and get to where we want to be.
Yep, that's all you could do, man. Hey, I really appreciate you guys coming. Everybody was great at the tailgate, and it's one big dysfunctional Irish family, man. So I don't know. Let's see if we can get a win this week. Get on a winning streak. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it, guys. Thanks again, man. I appreciate you so much. You guys are awesome. Let's just keep bringing the positive energy to this fan base and to this team. That's what the boys want us to do. And I want to give just a quick mention to the crowd for the game. Obviously, being 0-2, it was not the highest energy, but again, for my first game in South Bend, I'll give some credit where credit's due, and it was a good environment. For circumstances, I'll say that. And I just had a great time for my first home game, and let's turn things around and start playing some Notre Dame defense.
There you go. That's all you could do, man. Happy you got to see a win on your first game, even though it took 9 hours with the delay. Have a good one there in Florida, buddy.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Yep, the Irish. Yep.
Oh, thanks. Oh, boy. All right. People are mentioning what's up with 559. Well, he's up on the line. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, John? I'm here at work. Couldn't make it. Working every day right now. But I was able to get home and watch the game. But I want to tell you real quick. Give me a minute. All right, John. Sorry about that. So I know that everybody's upset and irritated. And yeah, Marcus Freeman has a big decision right now, John. He has a big decision. I get people's frustration and anger. And one thing about Notre Dame fans is what your show provides is a moment to vent out and just let loose about a frustration with our team. It's been a long time to be excited for, to see mediocre play and mediocre defense. At the same time, we were spoiled. We were spoiled as a fan base, having a great team, a great defense, and seeing it perform the way it is getting to a point where a lot of us fans don't know how to handle it sometimes, because, again, we were spoiled for so long.
Yeah, dude, you sound down, man. You sound sad, bro.
No, none of that. It's just, when you work 23 days straight, John, you're tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And lately, all you do is just wake up, go to work, and come back. And I couldn't make it to the game. I couldn't make it to the tailgate. Unfortunately, I got to ask permission now to leave. So I'm not asking nobody permission. I don't even ask my mom permission. So saying that,
yeah,
say less on that. But yeah, we just gotta right now stand next to each other, man. This is when our team needs us the most, and this is when we gotta stand with our head coach. And Marcus Freeman is irritated. You see it in his face. If you want the guy to come out and blast Ashford and show that he has no class, bro, and then for everybody to really get on him because he didn't know how to handle the situation. He knows what's up. We know what's going on. Look at the second half of the defense. You saw something different. You saw a spark in that team. Someone was making different play calling, or someone took over. They just don't want to admit it. Let's shoot the shit. Let's keep it a buck. You know what I mean? Marcus Freeman ain't stupid. He wasn't born yesterday. You know what I mean? He's about to take over and show you what Notre Dame football is about. And you all that doubt him and all that. Don't jump on the winning streak bandwagon once we're going 10-0, because I believe in Marcus Freeman. That's what's about to happen right now. And if you don't like it, then step out. If you're a true fan, you ride or die with Notre Dame. Whether it's through good and bad, thick or ugly, we're with this team. And I'm with Marcus Freeman. I'm 100% with Marcus Freeman. I told you from day one. This is a coach that we haven't had in a long time. He's not stupid, all right? He just got to be professional and let the unprofessional people like me come and say, well, we want to say for Marcus Freeman. We got enough to say, you know what I mean? So let's ride or die with Marcus Freeman and his Notre Dame team, and let's go kick some Arkansas ass and have some hogs for dinner.
Let's do it, man. Let's eat some of them hogs. Hey, man, thanks for calling during work. I always appreciate your effort, bro.
Yeah, I told you, John, man. Like I told you, I'm a workaholic, you know what I mean? But at the same time, John, love your show, love the fan base. And there's nothing else to be a Notre Dame fan, bro, no matter what. We're special. We're unique. And we're bougie, boys. We stay bougie no matter what. All right, John, I'm out.
Have a good one, bro. I appreciate you. Man, he sounded so sad, dude, didn't he? He sounded so sad. It's so, my man sounded down and out, bro. Very disappointing, very upsetting. All right, folks, that's going to be it. Johnny Boy's got errands to run. There's a whole nother bank of calls. Everybody on hold has called before. 484, can you try and call Friday? We haven't talked since July. I feel bad, but I got a couple of things I got to do in a timely fashion. But I want to talk to you, 484. We haven't talked since July. Now that we're in the season, I want to hear from you. But, man, yeah, 559 on the line is upset. Sounds down and out, man. The world's beating them down. I love you guys. I love this show. The best thing we could do is all be together during some challenging, tough times. You guys are all great. The tailgate was great. Like, everybody, man, I love this community. It's just a lot better when we're all winning and feeling in a good mood. So get over to the Patreon for the film breakdowns. First half defense is up now. Second half defense after the storm break coming up this afternoon. Jack Sullivan and myself are doing the preview show where he breaks down all things our opponent. We'll do that. So we have a busy rest of the week. Thanks for donating. Thanks for calling. Thanks for chatting. I love you guys. I love this show. Thanks for allowing me to do this.